Hello? Hello? Hold on. Oops, hold on. Okay, hold on. Hello, everyone. Finally been connected. So, how many are we here? Uh, 11. Are there non-Filipinos here in the room? Say I, or me, or non-Filipinos? Are there any? Good afternoon. Do you have your copies of the self-check PDF? Because I will be talking more about them, and then later I will entertain your questions regarding violin playing. Well, mostly about bowing. Are there non-Filipino speakers around? Yes, so let's begin. So today we'll be focusing more on how to strengthen the left fingers, the left hand actually, and a little bit of the bowing arm. Because for the last few sessions, we've been working mostly on the right arm. It's about time to focus on the left hand. Okay, so hello. Okay, so let's go first to exercise number 20 of self-check. So if you notice, it says here that you need to hold down the whole notes without playing them. This is actually just to remind you about the shape of the hand while playing. So it's always a letter C form, but most of the time, when you play and then you suddenly finish playing one note, you tend to remove the finger. So I call it actually sausage finger. Oh, okay, so a lot of mistakes by violin beginners is that whenever you play or stop a note with a certain finger, you tend to remove it, to raise the fingers up. You don't keep them down. And that's actually difficult, especially when you're playing scales, because of course you're going to use them again. When you do the ascending scale, you'll have to retain those fingers. For example, this is the half scale of E major, starting of course in E string. Hold those fingers down. Keep them there. Okay, not like this. Because you will also go down, go back down. So why waste the energy by lifting those fingers up? I actually call them sausage fingers. You don't need to raise those fingers up. You just need to keep them down because sooner or later you're going to use them again. And another reason for that is the intonation. So you're more prone into making mistakes intonation wise if you keep on lifting the fingers off the string. So when you get the right pitch already, keep it there. So hold down that finger. For example, finger one. If that's the right tune already, anchor it there. Hold it down. Hold it down. Okay, whenever you practice, well, for your level at the moment, the bow should always be flat on the string. So I call it flat bow, wherein all the hair strands should bite the string. So all of it. And then practice doing it slowly to get the feel of the pressure you need to apply to produce a big sound, sonorous sound, without being scratchy at all. So just before it begins to scratch, that's the best sound you could produce with your instrument. So before you get the sound, the best sound would be, that's the fullest, the thickest sound you could produce in your instrument just before it gets scratchy. So okay, so now, oh, hi Jake, you made it. Did you feed your animals? Okay, so in number 20, it says there that you need to hold down the finger. Okay, so it's set on the first measure, the notes are E, B flat, G, B back to B flat, G, and then back to B flat. There's a whole note there where you need to anchor the pointer finger. So I'll put it down on, I'll stop it down here. That's the E on the string. All I need to do is hold it down. Actually, I don't need to play it. No, I need to because it's the first note. And then all I need to do is put down the second finger right next to it, but on G string. So no slurs for now. Whenever you practice something with slurs, take it off. Whenever you're doing it for the first time or maybe second time, do not play the slurs yet. Do not apply the slurs yet. So 0, 1, and then 2, and then 0. Take it off. Back to 2. Okay. There are also some students who have problems regarding their thumb. One student here actually voiced it out already. So what you can do is take it off when you do the techniques or exercises. So it will be more difficult, more challenging without the thumb. But you just need to remember that the thumb is there. It's because you have a thumb. But when you place it onto the neck of the violin, it should be put very lightly, like a feather, touching the neck of the instrument. If you're going to push it or apply a lot of pressure, then it will hurt and you'll get tired very easily. So all we need to do is put it there. I would say it should be straight. There are people who have very long thumbs. I'm one of them. So sometimes it goes out. You can actually see it protruding out when I play. But the ideal way to place the thumb is like this, just before it protrudes outwards. So I'll play it again. But at first, of course, because I know the notes very well already, I've been there about 20 years ago. You'll have to play it really, really slowly, slow, and with the use of a metronome. I suggest you do it 60 beats per minute, and then only a whole note for each note. So whole note value meaning four counts. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So why so slow? Because you're targeting actually two techniques at the same time. You're practicing the bow pressure you need and the agility of the right arm as you play the notes. At the same time, you're also listening to the tones. You need to intone the correct pitches of the tones. So in order to do that at the same time, you'll have to do it slowly because you need to give your brain enough time to process everything. And at the beginning, it's so difficult. So give it time to process until it gets more mature. So 4 beats, and then when you got used to the pattern already and you know the pitches already, then you double the tempo. So all the time you need to hold down the pointer finger there. And then faster. And then by then, after playing that tempo, I think it's about time you can apply the slur. So and then when you go to the next measure, because the first one is actually very easy, you only need to hold down one finger. The second measure now it tells you to hold down 2 fingers. So finger 1 on D string, yeah, 1 fingertip distance from here, from the end, we call it knot. So 1 finger distance there, and then the second finger on B flat, right next to the pointer finger, but you put it on the G string, So hold those 2 fingers down. So what the 2 fingers would do to the third finger is actually pull it closer to them. That is to avoid the third finger from getting too high or too sharp. But sometimes it's also difficult because maybe when you place the third finger, it's still not high enough then you'll have to exert a little bit more effort. But remember, this exercise is for holding down those fingers. When you do this, you're actually really strengthening the fingers, and they'll mature much faster if you could do that. By the way, if you have questions, just leave it here, type it in. So to demonstrate again, I'm holding down my two fingers here, and I'm gonna play the measure really slowly. So. And while you're doing that, you can actually play the two stop strings at the same time for your double stops. So you're playing a diminished chord already. That's E diminished chord, power chord. Okay, so you need to hold down those fingers, and then of course you will get tired. So maybe after 5 to 10 minutes, you need to rest right away. You don't you then continue playing when you feel tired already, because it's not good for the muscles. Give it time to relax and to rejuvenate. So on the third measure, of course, you're going to practice that slowly and then gaining speed until you can play fast. Then the third measure, you'll need to put down three fingers onto the string. So first, we put down the pointer finger. It's always the finger number that is the closest to the, well, the leftmost. So it's always the first finger to be held down, and then the second finger, where should it go? B flat, so G string, and then the third finger will be for the G note on D string. So hold those three fingers down. So let's see if you can see it. So it's going to be like that. And then you're actually now practicing only the pinky. So. Okay, and while your attention is here, you need to reserve also just a little bit of your brain to focus on to the left elbow. Make sure that it's not moving sidewards or sideways when you do this exercise. It shouldn't go. That's not the right thing to do the exercise, because the bow would also go sideways like this. Okay, so keep it still, minding the height as you play the notes. And then, whenever you're doing string crossings, as much as possible, this position the elbow in between the height for the middle between the two strings that you're going to cross to. So if you're playing on D and A string, find the height. So D and then A, put it in between, so in the middle. So, or if it's G and D, put it right there in the middle. So that's where I put it earlier when I was showing you this. Because all you need to do is let the wrist do the job. That's why you need to make sure that the wrist is very flexible, but then you should have a nice grip onto the bow. In my previous in the previous sessions, I gave a lot of exercises on how to really manage the right hand to be able to have a good grip on the bow. So apply that like last time, and then play the exercise. And then, of course, you will need to have a short rest whenever you finish one measure. And then do not be into a hurry going to the next beat or the faster tempo because you should mature first onto the current speed. So that is how you do exercise number 20. Um, let's go first to, yes, we're still number 20, but now we're moving on to number 23, because now this is actually the partner of number 20, because this is now the double stopping. This is a beginner's double stopping exercise, double stop, because the first line, as you can see, except for the last measure, you just need to hold down the third finger. So again, no slurs. So when you play this, let me just there, position it. So the third finger holds down, and then notice that the four notes there are just D open string is a 0, and then finger 1, and then F sharp, and then back to 1. So first, take the third finger off. Play the moving notes first. So 0, and then finger 1, and then 2 has a sharp, so it should be away from the first finger. And then third finger right next to it. Oh, sorry, there's no third finger. You need to go back to finger 1. So 0. So get the pitch right first before you hold down the third finger onto the A string. So now that you know the pitch for those notes, hold down the third finger on A. Get the pitch. Now play them at the same time. If you're not sure about the pitch yet, this is how you could check every note. So hold down the third finger, play the open string first, and then the second note, the higher note. And then check those two tones if they're in tune. And then play them at the same time. And then finger 1. And then 2. Then when it gets easier, another variation is just to do like this. And then same time. And then, yeah, apply the slurs. Okay, and then the next measure, it just tells you that you need to lower the second finger. So from F sharp, you go down to F natural. So same procedure. So, okay, and also while doing that, of course, you will need to focus also onto your grip on the bow, and then the pressure you apply, so that you would avoid having the sound too scratchy or too soft. When I say airy, that's because the hair strands are actually not touching the string, or only a few of the strands are touching the string. So it shouldn't sound like this. That's too airy, too soft. Most of you are beginners here, so I'd like you really to play out. So okay, minding the position of the elbow all the time. And of course, you need to look also onto the wrist. It should be flexible at all times. You should sit like bending down and up, but not too high up like this. Because if it's too high, the bow starts to tilt. And by doing that, only maybe uh, half the number of hair strands would touch the string, or maybe even just one third of it. So you need to lower this a bit. If this is one of the problems, if it goes up too much, you need to fix it. It should, the back of the hand here, the top, should always be flat. Avoid doing this. Well, in one of my videos, the most recent one, I used a Baroque bow. That's why the arm position is a little bit different from how I actually tell her how I ask you to hold the bow. It's because I'm using a Baroque bow. So don't mind how I hold the bow there, because it's a different technique. So yeah, so that's just the side comment there. So again, mind what the right arm is doing. The elbow up to the fingertips will be the ones moving if you're just playing on one string or two simultaneous strings. You will only move the elbow up and down when you cross from one string to another. This is just a review for those who haven't had the previous sessions yet. And of course, reminder again, I still see some students when they post their videos, the right shoulder goes up as they also glide the bow upwards, an upward stroke. The right elbow or the right shoulder also goes up. Avoid that. You're not supposed to carry the weight of your arm, because it's gonna affect the sound. If you're going to do that, the sound would be lessened. So the full sonority would not be the same as when it's more relaxed. So that's what happens. The sound changes. So keep it down. And always practice with open strings. If you're learning how to control the bow and the facility of the bow hold and all, use only open string, so that your focus is limited to just the bowing arm. Before you start stopping notes here, by the way, the term stop is actually the one referred to as when you press the string. When you want a particular note, you need to stop your string. That's why you call it double stops or triple stopping or triple stops. There. So that's the term. It's not really pressing, but for string instruments, it's about stopping, because you're stopping the place where the length of the string is going to vibrate. So you stop it here so that the length of the string that would vibrate is only from the bridge up to here. So you stop it there. So that's the pitch when you stop it here. If you stop it here, so as the string lengthens, the lower the sound gets. And of course, as the string also gets thicker, the lower the sound gets because the length of vibration gets less. So if the string is heavier, it will vibrate less, then you have a lower sound. But if the string could vibrate fast, like an E string, the pitch is actually, yeah, it becomes higher because there's lots of vibrations. So there you go. So that's how you do exercise number 23. So the next variation, this is now the third measure of number 23. And then, and then, four, now with the third finger there. So in number three, in measure three, the notes there are 0 and then number 2. So my suggestion here actually is when you put down the second finger, of course, you will have to simultaneously put down the pointer finger as well. So instead of just putting down the second finger, imagine remember what I told you before, no sausage fingers. This should not be left up there. So the two fingers should go down at the same time. So okay, and then of course the fourth measure is just with a sharp on the second finger. So the same technique. When you put down, the second finger should be simultaneously with the pointer. So détaché first. Détaché, and then slur. Okay, so it's up to you to practice all of those. If you would really put time and effort in doing exercises 20 and 23, it will make the strengthening of the hand and the fingers much faster. So practice them. You really need to hold down in number 20 those fingers to help you with number 23, because in number 23 you're really forced to do the double stops. So the preparatory exercise would be number 20. So these are actually twins regarding technique. So you need number 20 to be able to play number 23 nicely. So are there questions so far? Are we on number 12? That was earlier. So this is the time to ask questions before we move on to the next one. Because I only said numbers 20 and 23. But I could also discuss some other stuff. Yeah, a review from last time, we were doing the G major scale on Rimoli. Yeah, I forgot what page. I think that's number. Oh, could someone please type it down? What page the G major scale is at? Thank you. So when we do scales, I told this at the beginning earlier, that you need to apply the holding down the fingers. So hold down. I normally would use my pinky and then listen to the open string. So That's how I practice my scale before continuing to go up. Finger 4 again there. And then simultaneously hold down all 4 fingers. All 4 again. So that's how I practice scales when I was still a student. So how do you play again number 20 measure? Okay, so there's a question here, number 20. Let me look it up first. Yes, yeah, maybe some of you, hold on. Okay. So measure 3, because it looks scary. It's like there's so many notes there. So all the whole notes were just to place the 3 fingers onto the strings and then hold them down. So first, I told you earlier that the finger with the least number should go first. So finger 1, of course, you put it on E here, not E string, but the E note or Mi. And then number 2, C flat. And then number 3, Sol or G. So just hold them down. So the 2 strings that are involved are just G and D strings. Fingers 1 and 3 on D string, and then finger 2 on G string. And then the only moving finger here is actually just the pinky finger, where it says C sharp. So you put it right next to the ring finger there. That's the pitch. So okay, so hold down all 3 fingers here. Only the pinky fingers moving. And then another question. The only, sorry. Okay. The only thing I have so far is my 3rd finger has trouble reaching the note. I'm playing a half step with my 2nd. The rest is practice so far. Okay, so maybe you're not used to doing this kind of exercises yet. Jake, I really would want you to focus first on the self-check book, because it will help you a lot, because you're one of the really late beginners. I started when I was almost 19, but you're way older as a beginner, so it's more difficult because of course your muscles are not that young anymore. Sorry to say that, but with the help of self-check, it will loosen all those aged muscle set. So with this one, all you need to do is really hold down those fingers to force the finger to move properly. I suggest, Jay, you start with number 1 to 4 exercises, number 1 to 4, the first few pages there. So how to execute is how you do it. This is for Jake because the rest know this already. So number 1 of self-check is open string, only 4 notes, then 2, right next to 1. And then get used to the pitch and to the pressure that you're applying onto the string. It should be loud, but not scratchy. So once you get it, speed up. elbow. You should, your two eyes should be divided, one looking at the elbow, the other one looking at the left hand. Okay, so nice thick sound, a big sonorous sound for this. Flat bow, no tilting for now, no tilting, just flat bow. And then work on tuning all of the notes here. So first measure is just A, 0, and then 1, 2, and then back to 1. Get used to that first. Once you're used to it, of course, go to the next measure. It's 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 2. That will help your third finger now. So fingers 1, 2, and 3. So this will be the fast forward. Okay, so finger 3, and then of course fingers 2, 3, and 4. You can easily master that. Once you got it, maybe you could advance learn those numbers 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then post a video so I could correct if you're having somewhere some mistakes or if you're doing fine. And then, so going back to the next question. Oh, so that's the only question. Yeah, because Jake, your fingers are not ready to move that fast yet, I guess. That's why you're having troubles at the moment. But with the first few pages of subject, well, it's going to remedy that. Yeah, now going back to G major scale, as I've said before, whenever you put down a finger, hold it down. So 0. Even if I'm done with finger 1 there, I will still hold it down. So, so that's how I practice. I use my pinky, but at the same time, I also want to listen to the open string if my pinky is actually in tune or not. Or you just put a tuner in front of you. But then the discipline will be much better. There's more discipline if you would really try to listen well without the metronome, or not the metronome, the tuner, when you use the pinky. So that's how I did my scales before. Even if it's just a first position scale, and even if it's just one octave scale, let's say D string. Instead of crossing to A0 right away, I use my fourth finger first. And then tune it. Am I in tune or not? So I have to listen well. You need to listen carefully. If you keep on making mistake, for example, this is what's happening. So this is sour note. You made a mistake again. Well, what you can do is just play that particular note and then listen to the open string. Once you're used to it, try the half scale, only half, until you reach the pinky only. So. And then, of course, compare. Again. Until you cannot tell already if you're using the pinky or playing an open string, or should I say the ones hearing you perform or play. So that's the objective. So now you can continue. So in all my scales, I used to add an extra note when there's an open string. I always use my pinky first. so I could compare if my pitch is correct, and then transfer to the other. Okay. So it's a good discipline for all of you if you're practicing scales. And then other questions, we still have time. Like, if there are no questions, then I'm going to remind you again about mm, the movement of the bow when you're doing string crossings. So here, the bow should not be too wavy. I'll position it here. It should go like this. All we need to do is to be able to touch the other string here, to there, to there, to there. You don't need this much weight. Okay, you don't need that. So only less. So. Because a lot of you are doing the exercise like this. Too much volume, too much waves. You're exerting too much effort. Okay, there. So what else we have? Is it a disadvantage with regard to bowling? If a person's dominant hand is on the left? No, I don't believe in that because I'm a right-handed person. And then my problem before was how would I be able to control my left hands, my left hand, I mean my left fingers. How could I move them fast when my dominant hand is the right one? That actually doesn't matter because you're going to work in both arms anyway. So this one is actually, I told you before that this is more important because this is one that produces the sound. This is the one that shapes the sound. This is the one that produces the sound. So it starts with this one. If the sound you produce already not good, then nobody would want to listen to your performance, or they would just say it's a bad performance. But then, if this is good, then you're actually helping the left hand. And if you exercise or practice the left hand very well, then it would be a nice pair. But then, if this is not worked out properly, even if the left hand is very good, excellent, you won't have a nice sound because this one that produces the sound after all. So it has to, the right arm has to be the first one to be worked on. And then here, the left fingers, there are lots of books for you to learn or to read and work on to make them more agile. And yeah, lots of exercises for finger dexterity, the left fingers. So if you are going to be serious about your practice in violin playing, start with the right arm. The right arm is where the sound starts. So if the right arm could easily control the bow, you could actually play any piece without vibrato, and it will still it will still sound nice if the right arm is doing it correctly. So you can actually make the scale sound like a musical piece if you could control it nicely with the right arm. So. If the notes are in tune and you can control the bow well, the sound would be nice. It will sound the way it should sound like. And then, are there any other questions? Who else in the audience have questions? No questions so far. So we'll just have to do a review of the previous ones. You can ask from the previous lessons also. So, are you still practicing this exercise? Last time I told you to practice here and there, but I also want to focus only at the front, only here, like 1 inch of the bow from the very end, from here to here. Because most of the time you don't go back, you don't go down here when you play or when you practice. So as early as now, start practicing this part of your bow before, well, before you exit from the silver point here, the silver one. So the point of contact should only be here, right where the silver mark here is at. So you practice it with this. You don't move the arm, only the fingers and the wrist would control the bow. So because in the future you're going to play pieces which are really soft that would require subtlety and placing the bow onto the string to avoid any soft scratch because it will be hurt. Like if you're going to play something. You cannot play that with a scratch at the beginning. It cannot be no bite there. So that's a more advanced technique. That's why as early as now, practice doing this. Bite of a frog. Controlled by only the left fingers. No, number 11, you don't practice it on the front. It will be too difficult. So number 11 of self check, only middle bow. But this one is a separate exercise for the front. So just like this, no movement from the rest of the arm except the hand. So no scratch, but the sound should be full. And again, flat bow. All the hair strands should bite the string. So there's a question before, when to begin tilting the bow. You see, once you tilt the bow, actually the bow tilts, but all the hair strands should still be flat onto the string. So that's a more difficult technique. So even if you tilt it, all the hair strands should bite the string. That's why the basic exercise for that actually is just do flat bow for now. In the future, if you really want a nice, sound, big, well, actually that will produce a much louder sound when you tilt the bow. But for now, you don't need it yet. So you're going to tilt it when, let's say, when you're already performing romantic pieces. That's after the classical period. So it's a long way to go. So you don't need to mind that at the moment. So flat bow, open string. So eyes onto the contact of the hair strands onto the string, but at the same time, your periphery should also be focusing onto your onto your right elbow. So periphery looking at the elbow, but the two eyes should be looking at the string and the hair strands of the bow as you glide the bow. I did a lot of that, playing only open strings just to control the bow. When you play two strings at the same time, the amount of sound should be equal. Not one string should be louder than the other. So it's up to you how you will decide how much pressure you should apply and how to position the elbow. So you'll have to explore. Your teacher would just tell you to play two strings at the same time because you're the one who would feel where to position the elbow. Okay, so you'll have to explore when doing double stops. And then you can also apply double stops with your left hand doing pizzicato. There's also another discipline for the right arm so that it won't get affected when the left hand is doing something strange here. The right arm should just continue doing nice and long continued bow stroke. Even if the left hand is doing something crazy here, this should not be affected. That's the way to tell your brain to actually split, to focus on both at the same time, focus on the right and focus on the left at the same time. So like this. And then once you have practiced a lot in double stops, it will be easier also to play well any piece that you know. So again, I'm reminding you not to hurry on doing vibratos. So as you can see, I demonstrated actually in my video of Canon that you don't need vibrato to produce a nice sound. So I did very minimal vibratos in my Canon there. But it's just all about bow control, and of course you'll have to tune the notes. That's all you need. Then you'll have a nice sound. So, are there any questions? Some more questions? Okay. So, we also have the practice playing something there, and on the tip of the bow. The tip. No, I will give you a different exercise for here and for here. But right now, I gave you already this one, the exercise for the frog. No scratch, and you don't exceed to this point. So only here, see the silver there, only up to here. So like that. It will not be easy because you don't want an airy sound, meaning you're just putting the bow there. It should still bite, but no bite sound. You get what I mean? No scratch, no bite sound. But the bow should still bite, the hamstring should still bite the string to have a nice big sound. Not no scratches at all. So and then controlled by just the fingers, not like this. So fingers and wrist. That is the more advanced facility of the bow. But it could also be done by beginners if you would put your heart into it. It's not going to be easy at first because this is a work for just the hand. Especially, again, with the thumb and the pinky finger. There. So last time I also showed you exercises, strengthening exercises here, which are actually that I call spider. I'm showing you it again. So on one string, alternating fingers, lifting up and back, and then start crossing. There. So, so the goal there is for the alternating fingers to be raised up at the same time and down, back down at the same time. There too. So start slow and then speed up as it gets easier. You need to get used to the movement first. It's actually a muscle memory. It's always difficult to work on finer muscles. Because of course, our fingers have a really fine muscles, especially the fingertips. So, more questions there? Uh, you need to ask questions if you have problems. Also, you can ask questions from the previous sessions. And I suggest you always review the past ones so that you could cope up with the ladder of lessons. I'm still not going to give lessons on the more advanced stuff like harmonics. Maybe I could give only the natural harmonics. There are harmonics which are called natural harmonics, but it has something to do with the division of the length of the string. It's always divisible by two. So from here to this point, where is the half? Right in the middle is a harmonic. So let's see, let's test. There's the harmonic. That's called a natural harmonic. Now, between this half and this half is also a harmonic because it's also divisible by 2. Divided by 2, somewhere there. Here, divided by 2, somewhere there. So let's check. So if that's the half, I would say the next half will be somewhere here. There's another harmonic there. And then from here to here, maybe somewhere it's here, and then here, so it's here. That's the principle of harmonics. It's always divisible by 2. And then from there, but some of the harmonics, the vibrations are too fast that the human ear cannot hear them anymore. So if I try to do the harmonics here, oh, still audible. There. So that's the principle of the natural harmonics. But for the fingered harmonics, you should be a little bit more advanced because that's based on the octaves. So once you can do octaves, then you can do fingered harmonics because it's always perfect fourth. Yeah, we should also have a session about music theory. Yeah, I told you that last time. No, 2 weeks ago. Yeah, I haven't planned it yet, but we will have sessions regarding the music theory. So it's perfect fourth. Then you'll get a fingered harmonic sound there. So any part of your instrument wall of the string, you can get harmonic sound if you could find the perfect fourth of the given tone of the first note of the note where you put the pinky finger, not the pinky, the pointer finger. So whenever you put it somewhere, all you need to do is find the perfect fourth of the of that note, then you'll arrive to a nice fingered harmonic sound. Yeah, you can even do a portato out of it. If you could control the perfect fourth. Because remember, once you slide up here, the interval gets closer. Okay, so I think that's all for today. Are there any questions back there? More questions? Or no more questions? So I think we'll have to end the session now, unless there are other questions left. Are you still there? So no more questions. Then I would have to say nice day to you all. Um, yeah, I'll plan the next music theory session. Bye. Oh, yeah. How do we place the thumb when moving to higher positions? Okay, that's very easy. The position of the thumb is actually in between, I would say, well, in my technique, I put it in between the third and the second fingers, right there. So when I shift to other positions, it stays there. But after here, after passing to the heel, like I move to this side of the violin. So here, then there. So the best exercise for that is just to slide your hand. That's how I actually exercise my palm so that it will always be moving same time with the rest of the fingers or actually with the hand. That's it. So, oh, you're welcome, Henry and everyone. Yeah, have a great day, Jay, Rhoda, Moj, and everyone here. Next time, please prepare your questions so I can really help you out. When you practice and then you have something to be cleared up, might as well just write it down so you don't forget your questions. Okay? So I would appreciate if you could ask more questions next time because that is going actually to help you more. Okay. So thank you, everyone. I'll be waiting for your practice videos again. Well, I'm always waiting. Sometimes I cannot comment right away because also, yeah, I'm quite busy also sometimes. But I would always comment on your videos. You're welcome. So have a great day, everyone. And for those who are still starting their day, have a great one. Okay, bye for now. You will have a replay of this anyway. So, bye everyone. Bye guys.